Okay, well, welcome ladies to today's Soulful Women in Business call. My name's Kira Love. If we haven't met, I've been a part of this beautiful community for over 10 years now. Easily the single most incredible decision that I have ever made in my life. It has transformed my life in so many ways. And I can hand on heart genuinely say that who I have become because of this space is the greatest gift of all. So I'm excited to share some of that wisdom and energy and strategy with you today that I've personally learned and that has helped increase my personal power, which is what we want to do as women if we want to create and live a life that we absolutely love. So to kick off today, I just really want to set the tone and the energy. So I'm going to invite all of you to close your eyes down for me. It's probably been a rushed morning, it usually is for women. So let's just center ourselves and ground ourselves into this space. I invite you to put your hands on your heart space. And I just want you to take some really deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And with every exhalation, just let out any tension, any feeling of rush, any stressful energy in the body, just release it. And as you breathe in, I want you to breathe light into your heart space. Allow the light around your heart to expand. And I want you to open your heart as an invitation for your desires. Allow your heart to open as that channel for creation, which is your true superpower as a woman. And I invite you today to be open to seeing your blind spots, open to seeing the things that you need to see in order for transformation to occur, in order for that next elevation of you. And take one more deep breath in. Breathe in all of the love and light. And as you exhale, just settle into this space with me. Beautiful. It's such an honor to sit here with you today. If anything comes up as I'm talking, I will do my best to keep an eye on the chat. I'm not great at that always, but I will do my best, and we can always circle back to some questions as well. I definitely love you guys to be as interactive as possible. So today's topic is about work-life harmony, creating work-life harmony. Now, I don't believe that there's anything, any such thing as work-life balance, right? And when we are just so addicted to chasing a feeling that is all up and all balance, what we can actually create in ourselves is a feeling of disharmony and imbalance because we're highlighting it. We're always chasing something that isn't necessarily achievable. So when I think about my life, what I can genuinely say is I do have work-life harmony. And I want you to sit with that word harmony. And let me know in the chat how that feels as a woman in your body, the word harmony. What are some words or some feelings that come to mind when you hear work-life harmony? It feels good, right? It feels peaceful, calming, graceful. I love that word. Graceful is power. It really is personal power for the feminine. It's such a feminine word. It's that breath of fresh air that we all are seeking in a chronically stressful, crazed, manic, rushed life that we all tend to lean into. So today we're going to chat together around cleaning up some energy leaks so that you can come into 2025 as an open channel for creating what you truly do want next year. I'm going to talk into some really simple life and business biohacks. So actual hacks that create changes in your hormone harmony, okay, that support your hormone health so that you can thrive in business and relationships. And I can tell you the link between your hormone health and your thrive mode in business and relationship is honestly exponentially powerful, and it's something that we overlook. That will merge beautifully into why network marketing is such a supportive and rewarding environment for us women. And I really want to speak into creating that seamless flow between life and business so that you don't have that whiplash or that dread coming into Monday morning. You're actually excited, and genuinely, sometimes I can't tell whether it's Monday, Saturday, Tuesday, Sunday, because I have that beautiful harmony and that seamless fabric, and I get to live a life that I love and that I'm passionate about every day. And you can create that too. You're a conscious master creator of the life that you're experiencing. And then I also want to talk about living and leading yourself in alignment with your head, your heart, and your highest self, because I believe that that is the channel that we tune into to create a life that we love. So let's start by talking about some life harmony biohacks. I'm so passionate about this. This has really transformed the way I experience my business and my relationships. As women, life is always screaming demands at us. Is that true? Like, you just feel like it's one thing after another. Your head is full of to-do lists. And this actually takes us right out of our feminine energy, because feminine is all about relaxing and being. But when our head is full and our environment is full of things to do, which creates chaos in our head, we can't relax when our environment is not in order. As women, we actually cannot relax, right? You know how men come home and they sit on the couch? They literally can sit there with an empty mind in a chaotic environment. We are wired very differently. We physically find it almost impossible to relax with a chaotic environment where things are not in order. And so we have this very demanding life as women where we're trying to juggle it all. But if we can understand our nature and what it is that we need in order to thrive, then we can actually start setting our environment and our businesses and our partners and relationships up for success. So a woman's vitality hormones are estrogen and oxytocin. But when these are low, our ability to cope with stress becomes diminished, and we take on a negative bias. So estrogen and oxytocin are brain energizer chemicals. They put us in a positive bias when they are in balance. But when they are low, we tend to be far more critical about everything that we look through that lens at. So and I'll give you an easy example of this, because we naturally have a flow in our cycle where there's one section of the month, right, in our bleed cycle where our estrogen naturally dips. And this is where all of a sudden you swing from, oh, my husband's so sexy, he's so fun, I love him so much, I'm so grateful. And then the next day you're just like, you're breathing, I want to punch you in the head, right? It's like, which one's the real me, right? Or like one day you're just like, I love Juice Plus and I can't wait to get on the Soulful Women's call. And then the next week you're just like, why are there so many expectations? Why are there so many calls? I don't, I just feel so much pressure. I'm so overwhelmed. It's like you literally take on a different personality and you are taking on a negative bias, because estrogen fuels positivity in your mind. And I believe there's a connection between all of the hormone imbalance that we're experiencing due to diet, lifestyle, environmental toxins, being stressed as women, and the increase in mental health, which women are 3 times more likely to suffer from, just FYI. And nobody's looking at the link between hormone health, which is wild to me, right? Because we can balance that naturally so that we don't have to, take things that were not meant to be in our body. Now, the things that deplete oxytocin and estrogen are things that swing us to our male side, and we start producing more testosterone. And so that's action taking, that's doing, that's things that create stress. It's feeling unsupported. It's having the world on your shoulders. It's feeling like you're carrying the load all of the time. Now, even mothering, outside of the nurture part, the cuddles and the fun part, the doing part of mothering is actually masculine energy, right? So we are swinging to our male side far too often. 100 years ago, we were mostly in the nurturing role, but now we're trying to do it all, which is totally fine. Okay, I'm not making that right or wrong, right? You get to choose what's right for you. But what we can do is operate in our personal power, and we can choose behaviors that counter this and bring harmony back to our body, our hormones, and then we experience more harmony in ourselves, whether we're focused on business, relationships, whatever that might be. So I believe that, I believe that we're responsible, right? We're ultimately responsible. And I think when we choose radical responsibility, this is us sitting in our personal power, but we are ultimately responsible for our happiness and to set our own soul on fire. And for as long as you need things outside of you to be a certain way or people to be a certain way, in order for you to be happy, in order for you to experience peace within yourself, then you're putting your power outside of you. So I'm going to invite you today to pick up your personal power and understand that all of this is actually your responsibility, right? You are a master creator. And we can either sit in this victim mode of I have to do it all, right? And I have no choice, or we can consciously start setting ourselves up for success. So things that amplify your oxytocin and estrogen are things that do create that feeling of being, that love, that nurture, that supportiveness. And it's first choosing yourself, right? It's supporting yourself first, taking on that personal power. So I'm going to go through some things that help to keep these things really balanced. So first and foremost, I believe that women thrive with slow mornings. Men thrive with slow evenings. So women have a 28-day cycle of estrogen, and the things that deplete it are the rushing and the doing. Men have a 24-hour cycle with their vitality hormone, testosterone. It peaks every morning and it depletes by the evening, and they wake up at peak state again. And that's pretty much, they're just so linear, right? Whereas we peak at like a week of the month, and then it's a steady decline, and then it's a steady lift, and then it's a steady decline, right? So we have an off week. They have an off few hours in the evening. So one thing that we do in my home is, and obviously we have created life structures that do support this. So my partner gives me slow mornings where possible. It's not every morning. Sometimes he's got to be on site at 5 a.m. But he will do his best, and he will even get grandparents to help with the school run with his kids to alleviate the stress in my mornings, because he knows the woman that I get to show up as. And even if I don't get to have the morning to myself and my beach walks, I'll get up early, have my tea, and just sit with myself in peace for a good half an hour before I do the rush. Now, I give him that hour in the evenings just to rest and rejuvenate. And we have this beautiful flow in our relationship because of this. Now, if this feels like it's not possible for you right now, what I would say is, what is possible? Speak to your partner, communicate, or your friends and family. Maybe there's one morning a week that you can start with where you get the morning off and you get just nurture and nourish you. Now, if you are identifying with, oh, that's not me, Kira, I actually think that I'd like the idea of a slow evening. The reason for this is you are swinging to your masculine energy more in the day. You're producing more testosterone, and that's why you're resonating with that evening, because you're just doing, and you're actually never resting. So depending on where you sit mostly with your energy is what you're going to resonate with on that. And it's not right or wrong, right? I'm just simply inviting you to think about life structures that support your flow and energy so that you feel harmonious in your body. When I'm rushing morning after morning, of course I can cope with, rushed mornings sporadically, but when it's morning after morning, I am not in harmony in my body, right? I am very crabby and nobody gets the best from me. But my creative capacity with a slow morning is exponential. The next thing that supports, I believe, feminine energy is collaboration. So the masculine strives for the single focus, the goal, the target. They want to be independent in achieving it. They want to win. They want all of the reward and recognition for themselves. They will work tirelessly all hours of the day for year upon year in order to feel that they achieved that goal, and it will feel worthwhile to them. Feminine women focus much more on the journey. And this is what's important to understand for this business here. The journey needs to be enjoyable. We care so much more about how we feel on a day-to-day basis, how it feels on our journey to each position, right, whilst we're here, more than we do the celebration of arriving there, right, generally, okay? So if you are more in your feminine energy, you're going to relate to that. And it doesn't mean that we don't, tap in and out, by the way. It's just the resonance of, where we generally sit for the most part. So what I love about network marketing and why I believe for 2025, like this is the place to be as a woman, is there are so many businesses that I feel I have the capabilities to do well in. Like I really do feel like a powerful businesswoman. And I have coaches tell me all the time, you should do this, you could do this. And I'm like, yeah, I could, but the freedom, the flow, the flexibility, the collaboration, the support that I feel here as a woman, the journey that is enjoyable because many hands make the lighter load. In my team, we collaborate our gifts. I don't feel like I hold an entire business and the success of it on my shoulders. Every woman here is holding a part and a piece of their own, and together we rise. And this is where business gets to feel light. Juice Plus, the company head office, take care of all of the BS that I don't want to know about, that in a normal business I'm going to have to deal with, right? The collaboration here is so supportive of our estrogen and oxytocin, but I have a question for you. Are you open to receiving the support? Are you the woman that sits at home and churns on the stories of my upline isn't supporting me, or I don't fit, or I don't belong? You're not choosing your belonging. You're making up stories about, whether it is collaborative or supportive. Or are you the woman showing up and is, openly asking for support, who is open to receiving it, who is putting her collaboration and her gifts on the table, right? Because it is this beautiful two-way street. That beautiful unity that you can experience here, you have to choose to take part in that, right? So I really encourage you to own that moving into the new year. To enjoy the journey as well, you are responsible for bringing what you want to feel. If you haven't been feeling like you've been having fun here, or it's felt overwhelming, there's some personal responsibility to take in that. Right? If it's not exciting you and you're not experiencing the joy that you can see and feel from me, this is something I had to cultivate. This is something I had to ignite within myself. My mantra for 2025 is play harder, work smarter. I truly believe the more fun we're having, the more money we make. And you know what's really curious? I was sitting with this morning. I believe play is of the divine feminine. But why is it as mothers, we think men are the fun ones? They're the playful ones, right? And we're the bad cops in the home, running around doing all the doing and not having fun anymore. Fun is of the feminine, right? We've got to bring that part of ourselves to the table. We have to open our hearts to that beautiful flexibility and flow and playfulness and silliness and laughter. When's the last time that you just sat with your kids or your husband, or you turned some music on, or you just allowed yourself to be free in your body, to not care what anyone thinks of you, to bring that playfulness yourself? Again, I invite you to hold yourself to that standard coming into the new year. Bring that to the table. Expressing negativity. This is something I believe we need to work on. Expressing negativity as women actually releases dopamine in our brain. So this is a self-awareness moment. Women are addicted to seeing what is wrong. If you've been addicted to seeing what is wrong in your business for the past month, or your relationship, or with your kids, whatever it might be, your co-parent, then I encourage you to become a benefit finder in place of a fault finder. Because you are addicted to the dopamine release of seeing what's wrong. And you may also have hormones that are not balanced, and you're in that negative bias. But one way that we can boost oxytocin is through gratitude, through being a benefit finder and consciously building that muscle. Choosing to look through that lens, even on our off days, even at autumn time of our cycle where we want to be critical. Really exercising that self-awareness and self-control there. Next, giving. Giving boosts oxytocin. Giving is feminine, but this is where I caution you. And this is what I see in this community. Overgiving is masculine. And we overgive in different ways. People pleasing, running around doing things, which is really just this unconscious, selfish desire to feel accepted and loved. If I do this for you, maybe I'll get that energetic exchange. I encourage you to work on your boundaries. I have very strong, clear boundaries in this business and in my life. And I give to myself first. Giving is feminine, but we have to choose ourselves. If we want the world to choose us, if we want our partners to choose us, if we want our customers to choose us, they will only choose us to the degree that we have chosen ourselves. We start by giving to ourselves first. We start by giving ourselves support. Feeling supported is actually the most powerful way to boost estrogen and oxytocin. And I know that this is the number one complaint of women is they don't feel supported in life and business. They don't feel supported in their relationships. But again, are you allowing yourself to receive support? Do you reach out when you need support, or do you sit back and blame, shame, and justify? Is it your story at home that no one else will do it? So I have to. I'm unsupported. You're addicted to that storyline and that identity. There's something in that serves you. For me, I build life structures that support me. You know, our kids are like, we teach agency to our children. They all get themselves ready for school. They all pack their own lunches. There are nights where they all get themselves dinner. They all clean up after themselves, right? And that's the ultimate gift for everybody, because I know they're going to go into the world as confident, independent, capable adults. And I also get to just breathe, you know, especially on the nights where I have team training. I know that they're sorted. Me and my partner, you know, we don't tolerate anything other than a high standard of support from one another. You get what you tolerate, right? If you don't have the courage to ask for what you need, men are directional. They like direct energy. All this game playing. Women's minds are built to anticipate the needs of others. And this is why you're so cranky all the time that your partner doesn't anticipate your needs, because you expect him to behave like a big, hairy woman. But if he did behave like one, you'd have a wife, not a husband. So you're very conflicted and contradictory in your belief system here. He does not anticipate your needs. His brain is wired for conservation of energy and for, you know, targets, achieving goals, right? Keeping things safe. If he feels like everything in the environment is safe and he needs to conserve energy, he's going to relax. If you ask him, will you help me with this? You've given him a goal. But if you use language that is game playing, or you make it as a suggestion, then he's going to conserve energy. He doesn't play those games. He doesn't use that language. He doesn't understand it, right? So I'm going to do some stuff on this on my socials soon. But, you know, if he asked you to marry him and he said, could you marry me? How does that land for you? Babe, could you marry me? Versus, will you marry me? It's the same with asking for support. Will you take the rubbish out? Will you get some dinner on the way home? I'm at capacity this evening, right? Men respond to that energy and they respond to your appreciation. So like puppy dogs, right? You reward them when they do the right thing. You don't tell them that they didn't do it perfectly. They did it wrong. They didn't do it the way that you would do it, right? They think, what's the point? They didn't achieve the goal. They didn't succeed. They didn't win. If they're constantly losing, they stop trying. So set your environment up to be supportive, and it starts with your energy and how you lead first. Relationships boost oxytocin and estrogen. And that's why I love network marketing. We are professionals at building relationships. It's the feminine energy. It's so innate. It's so seamless. And I'm going to talk about why you're screwing yourself up with this in a moment. This business should feel effortless because you are a professional relationship builder by default. You are wired for it. And that's why network marketing is filled with women. It's the most supportive environment for our biology. Self-nurture, obviously, that's part of supporting yourself. And then creating that seamless fabric between life and business is very supportive of feminine energy. When we have to leave for a 9 to 5, when our soul longs to be home in the nurturing role, that's very stressful on our bodies day after day, right? We can cope, but we burn out. Our biology is not designed for that. Now, I'll give you an example of how seamless my life and business is. We're coming into Christmas, right? Nothing changes for me. Like, I genuinely live the mission. Every day I'm eating salads, drinking smoothies, taking my Juice Plus, and I share my passion on social media. Like, it doesn't matter whether it's my birthday, my anniversary, Christmas, there's no change. So for any of you who are thinking, oh my God, it's Christmas, how do I juggle my business? It shouldn't feel like a juggle, right? I get if you're having to leave for work and do, I get that creates an extra time challenge. Totally understand that. But if you're at home with the kids, they're a part of the mission. They're a part of a healthy lifestyle. They're a part of the education in how you're raising them, right? I don't plan my content. I just live my business as my life because I genuinely love it, right? I've found that alignment. Nervous system regulation is incredibly important for your hormone balance. Your business will only be as big as your nervous system can hold. So daily meditation, clear intention setting, and then aligning your action with the intention. The self-care, really having self-awareness around your belief systems, because what's happening inside is going to manifest outside of you. Self-awareness is so important for your personal power. So to wrap a bow around that, creating harmony in your biology, it's having moments of peace and ease and flow in your life. It's feeling supported. It's giving to yourself. It's self-nurture. And you're educating your children and role modeling this to them. If you want your daughters to grow up to be people pleasers and women who don't take any time to nurture themselves, then keep doing it all, because that's what you're teaching them. I feel the most selfish thing that I do on a daily basis is take time for myself. And I don't ask for permission from my girls. I tell them I'm doing it. And I see them following in my footsteps to do the same thing. Their maturity, what they expect as standards and boundaries from their relationships, it really blows me away to see them following in those footsteps. So I encourage you to be a role model for your children as well. Okay, so let's move into living in alignment with your head, your heart, and your higher self. I believe that we could do away with all of this coaching if we just focused on this simple message. And this is something I'm actually moving into and studying, and something I want to bring to the space in the new year, which is heart-brain coherence. It's incredibly powerful. And I just think like this is the piece of the puzzle for women to really elevate. And it's so simple. I believe the only reason why you don't manifest the life that you absolutely desire is because you're not aligning your head with your heart, because this allows you to open that channel to your higher self. We're bypassing the heart. We get trapped in the head, and you cannot access your higher self through the mind. The mind is full of limitations. It's full of beliefs that keep you safe, but prevent your expansion. Now, true safety is in your expansion. The woman I was before this business, didn't hold much personal power. My nervous system couldn't hold much. I shudder at the thought of how I would have handled independent mum life if it happened 10 years before it happened, because I just would have crumbled. So my safety has actually been in my expansion. It is a complete fallacy that your comfort zone is safe. Your comfort zone is actually the most dangerous place, especially as a woman, to sit. It's so important that you can hold yourself and anything that is thrown your way, especially as mothers, right? And that happens in your expansion. The heart and the higher self are limitless. Okay, it's in the mind, which we get trapped in the mind from all the doing. The doing is of the mind. The being is of the heart, right? All the doing, we get stuck in the mind and we forget who we are. All of the limitations exist in the mind, and we live from that. We live as though those belief systems are truth. We get so stuck in these I consciousness thoughts, right? So I consciousness is our suffering state. Suffering only exists in the mind, and it's always self-focused. I. I'm not good enough. What do they think of me? This person's not supporting me. How could they do that? Why is the world doing this to me? I, right? And that exists only in the mind when we're focused on self. And this is separation. It's separation from our higher self. It's separation from our potential. It's separation from our true selves. It's separation from others. When you're in a room with your partner and you're focused on me, 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 do you think you have oneness and connection and you amplify love? Or do you think you increase disconnection? But we're addicted to these states. And the world is breeding it. This very the stuff that's going on in the world with identities and things, it is so based in the mind and this I, right? So the reason why you don't have the results that you want, perhaps, in your business or anywhere in your life is because you're living from your head, right? And this is where we hold all of our fears and our limitations. And we have to ask ourselves, what are we anchoring in as false evidence every single day that is a creation of this limited mind? Because we use up so much energy expenditure. So much of our energetic resource is used up worrying about delusions. Because the only thing that is real is love and limitless potential. And anything outside of that is a complete delusion. And we live our days massaging and ruminating on these delusions of our unworthiness. But what if we even used a part of this energy, right, that we're wasting on doubt? What if we just used even a part of that energy for creating what we do want and focusing forward on what we do want? Because if you want to play with source, we do it when we align to our true selves. Oneness. Dropping from our head to our heart, this connects us with source creation energy. And this is where we become a channel for creating what we do want more of in our life. Because there's no lack, there's no doubt of our worthiness or our capabilities when we live from our heart. And this is our goddess mode. This is our true feminine unleashed. This is where the daily mundane becomes magic. This is where washing the dishes can become playful. Because anything is possible from this state. So one of your New Year's heart-aligned decisions that I would encourage you to make is to get better at intercepting the self-criticism that is holding you back. And pivot with mindfulness to lead from the heart. Stop entertaining the thoughts that don't serve and align your energy and your action and your thoughts to what you do desire. That's what needs to happen in order to manifest it. And the quickest way to do it is just align your action. Whether you believe or not that you're going to land where you want to land, just have faith and align your action with the desired outcome. Right? As an example, you're having disconnection in your relationship, you're arguing about something stupid, but what you really want is connection. Should you align your action with the stupid argument and dig your heels in and not speak to your husband for 5 days until he caves in? Or should you lead with love and just say, you know what? I know you want the best for me, and I know that that's not what you meant for me to experience, and I forgive you. Which one's going to align you with what you do want faster? Anytime you feel yourself out of alignment, it's all you need to ask yourself. Stop entertaining the thoughts and actions that aren't serving and align your action with what does. You know, when we think about, I would say one of the biggest misaligning belief systems of every woman on this call is, what will people think of me? Comparison, some flavor of comparison even, right? Now, if you guys are doing the course with Richard Bliss Brooks, I shared my story from the first call in that group. But I spent a good part of the first 30 years of my life caring so deeply what people thought of me. And as a little girl, it served me to fit in. That was a feeling of safety. For little girls, we need a sense of security, and we get that through fitting in. And so we mold ourselves and we shape ourselves, and we care so much what people think of us. And we want to show up in a way where we're accepted. But guess what? We're grown-ass women now, and we are safe. And I got to a point where I had to acknowledge that I'm not a little girl anymore. and I am so safe. And that little girl needs to take a backseat because I've got me. I'm good no matter what. And I need to stop needing other people's approval, because the approval that you really need and crave is the approval of yourself. Because tell me this, for the past, however old you are, many years of needing others' approval, do you feel satiated? The reason you don't feel satiated is it's a delusion that you need it from others. It hasn't satiated you because you need it from yourself. And when you give it to yourself, you give yourself permission to be yourself. And the most magnificent you'll ever be is yourself. And the reason why your potential customers are not convinced to join you or become customers is they can feel the lack of alignment in your authenticity. You don't believe in you. And that creates an energetic transfer through the screen. The sooner you accept who you are, own it, love every part of it, the all shades of it, right? The humanness, the goddess, all of it. That's when your business will blow up. Your willingness to be seen in all of your light and glory and who you are. And that is living from the heart. That is love. That's all that is real. Only love is real. Everything else is a delusion. Your mind wants everything to make sense. Your heart doesn't search for any sense. Your heart only knows miracles. Your heart knows the way, and it's the line of least resistance. All the resistance you feel is created in the mind. The pathway of leading with the heart is not linear. It skips timelines because the heart is pure possibility. When I think about my growth in the early years here, within the space of 12 months, SC to 100 club, that is not linear growth. That is quantum leaping in who I was as a woman. And that is because I started living from my heart, from possibility. And you can reconnect into this feeling of expansion in any moment. You can build that muscle of catching yourself when you're here and redirecting that flow of energy. Because when you create coherence between the brain and the heart, then you align with your higher self, your true self. The heart is so powerful. The heart is the knower of all things. That's where truth resides. So I want to wrap up by focusing on creating alignment in the new year for what you do want. And the very first step of that I'm going to focus on. And the first step is getting clear on the energy leaks that are taking up space, because for as much as you feel at capacity in your spaciousness, you don't make room for the things that you really do want. Now, I believe our energy is our highest value because our energy is where we hold our personal power. And so for our life to elevate, there are strategies that we can implement and energetics that we can embody to increase our energetic spaciousness, our capacity. Now, capacity is both that physical, so literally what you can do in 24 hours, as well as energetic. So your nervous system, how much stress you can hold, it's that spaciousness, so internal and external. It's how much you can hold in your doing body and your feeling body. And this space can be expanded or contracted according to our personal power, our life structures that I spoke about. So setting your family up to be supportive so you don't have to do it all, right? By the way, what serves us in doing it all is we get to wear the badge of honor. It's part of our identity, right? So our behavior always serves us on some level. And it's also the strength of our nervous system, right? So if you think of your muscles as what you can physically hold, your nervous system is what you can energetically hold. So the secret that all top leaders know here is holding more is not about doing more, right? It's not that you're not doing enough here. It's about your energy. It's about being more in your energy. And this is where ease and grace and flow gets to come into your business, that feminine alignment. Because when you be more energetically, you actually have to do less in order to have bigger results. it's like you go from push to magnetism, right? You get to lean back. So when you expand your energy, it commands more powerful results. It commands attention. But again, you have to be willing to be seen. You have to allow that attention. You have to be in that receivership capacity in order for that to come into your world. It also has a compounding effect, so it creates effortless momentum. And your results are mostly a byproduct of who you are being, not what you are doing. Okay, so this is a good area to do some journaling on in terms of what results did I get? Who was I being? Was I being a powerful boss babe? Was my energy and actions aligning with that? Or was I aligning with the little girl energy? What will people think of me? I'm not like her, and all of that BS noise. Now, common ways that I see team lowering their capacity and their personal power with really small things that you want to learn to master: being afraid that your customers will change their mind, letting people tell you what you should believe about yourself, letting people tell you what should or shouldn't be for you. Oh, you're still doing that Juice Plus thing? If that makes you wobble, that's an indication of where your personal power is at. Letting people decide what content is appropriate for your own feed, where they can just simply unfollow you if they don't like your content because it's your page. Letting others decide what you should say yes and no to. Feeling shame or guilt if you don't blend in. Entertaining things that don't serve you or your nervous system. People pleasing. Or filling your life up with things that don't bring you joy. An example of this: it does not bring me joy to clean the toilet, so I pay someone to do that and I go and do something that brings me joy. I'm a worthy investment of that, right? I wouldn't clean the toilet for that. Like, I have so much value on my time and my energy and the things that I love to do. But if you don't value you, the world is not going to value you. You have to choose yourself first. So let's identify and clean up some energy leaks. This is where I want you to be journaling, writing notes. You can come back and watch the recording as well. But if you play full out in this, it will change your life for 2025. I truly believe that. So your energy is always an invitation for something. If your life already feels heavy, you're unconsciously going to block having more, because you don't want more of what you're already struggling to carry, right? Why would you attract an abundance of action in your business if you're already just struggling with day to day because you're at capacity? Your energy's blocking them more, right? Who feels like life is already really heavy, so you keep putting your business down? Again, radical responsibility. You get to clean up some of those energy leaks that aren't serving you so that you can create them more in this business. And leaders are consciously and constantly, consistently assessing where they're spending their energy, because there are karmic consequences to what we choose to do and what we choose not to do. There is a ripple effect for years to come on where you're putting your energy. When you feel drained, you're using up valuable energy stores, you decrease your life force, you disrupt your hormones. This leads to a reduction in your magnetism. A drained woman is not a sexy woman. And a woman who doesn't take responsibility for being drained is not a sexy woman. So, some questions for you to consider. What is currently draining you in your life that needs to be cleaned up? When you think about I feel drained, what is it that's draining you? What stories do you have on repeat that are not serving your energy use? Where am I doing things out of alignment? I really desire a sexy, fulfilling, amazing relationship with my husband, but I'm a cranky bitch every day. That's massively out of alignment. I love your self-responsibility there, Jessie. Do you know what? We all dip in and out of it, by the way. I'm a crabby bitch sometimes, but I catch myself because it's not who I want to be. And if I don't catch myself, my partner will certainly let me know. And I'm willing to receive feedback. I'm not defensive. You're right. I'm being a cranky bitch. I'm sorry. Let me take some time out to go and realign my energy, and I'll come back in a better space. He's actually amazing. He collects all the kids and puts them in the car when he sees me get into that mode. And he just takes them all out and just gives me an hour to reset. What spaces feel heavy, and am I open to delegating or experiencing them in new ways? So for example, the school run, I notoriously share this because if there's one thing I despise in my day, it's the school run. We've got currently 3 different school drop-offs, and all like within like crazy traffic. Like it's just not fun for me. I hate driving as it is. And so Danny loves it. Like Danny loves that time with the kids. So he sets his mornings up so he can mostly do that. And when he can't, he gets the grandparents in because they love seeing the kids. They love being useful. His dad's retired. He literally has no purpose and he loves taking that on. So why would I do something I hate if someone's willing to do it that enjoys the whole thing, right? But we were open to the possibility of transforming it. I was getting resentful that I wasn't getting to do the beach walk and things that I'd set my life up for before meeting my partner. So we sat with it. How can we transform this? Is it possible? What is possible? When you clean things up, you're also going to stop sabotaging things. Okay. So think about, you know, in your business, why you might be sabotaging. Like what areas need to be cleaned up to free up space for you to really sink your teeth in? What's lowering your frequency as a woman? What's not supporting your health, your business success, your relationships, your future desires? What halts movement and momentum? So what has to happen in your life for you to just completely drop everything and check out and go into, what's the word I'm looking for? Having a mind blank, I can't think of that word, but you self-soothe, that's the word I'm looking for. So get clear on like when Sally from high school is a neg ferret on my social media, I halt movement for a month, right? If you can bring it to the light, it's no longer in the dark. So now you have awareness around it. So now you can choose that when this thing happens that halts my movement in my business, I'm going to choose my personal power and I'm going to choose this action instead. Instead of eating a block of chocolate and ignoring my upline, I'm going to reach out to my upline and say, this just happened. Can you hold me in this wobble? What can I focus on instead? What decreases your personal power? What are the energy drainers? What's below your pay grade? I tell the kids, picking up after you is well below my pay grade. I've got more important things to do in the world than spend an hour cleaning up after 5 humans that can clean up for themselves. Maybe there's some relationship resentments that you need to clean up. Nobody can make you feel anything unless you allow it to be so. Now, if you're not changing it, you're choosing it for 2025. Personal power. If you're not changing these things, you are choosing it. You're going to recycle it again and again because the world, you're here in this world to elevate into your personal power, to transcend this stuff. Now, the other thing, and most importantly, I want you to end this with your self-reflection. What elevates your energy? What elevates your fulfillment and happiness and joy? What expands your personal power? What makes these areas feel more spacious, harmonious? What transforms or dissolves the blockages that you feel? For me, beach walks are transformational. It's, you know, certain mindset work that I do. I have my miracle stuff that I focus on every morning, and my journaling, instead of picking up my phone, that's massively transformed the energy tone that I set for my entire day, making sure my dopamine isn't eaten up first thing in the morning with my phone, so then I'm grumpy all day. I expand it instead by choosing other things. What would lighten the load? Where can you ask for support? Where can you invest in support to increase your capacity? Especially with business, right? When I was building my business, that morning cleanup every morning, I wasn't starting my business till like 11 a.m. after, when my kids were little. And like that was like 2 to 3 hours where I could exponentially earn more money than what my cleaner was being paid. And even if it was an equal exchange, let's just say I only earned the amount that I then had to pay her, what would you rather do? Be on this call or clean the toilet? I had to make that confident decision that I was worth the investment and that it was going to pay me back. The reason you won't invest in that is you don't believe that you're going to go and make that money to cover it. Saying we don't have enough money for a cleaner, I have one, we've changed it now, but I had one 3 times a week in my massive building business phase, right? Telling yourself I can't afford that is the most limited way to think. Anytime we want something or our kids want something, how do we make that possible? What are we willing to do? I have learned because of this business, there are exponentially hundreds of thousands of millions of ways to bring in money. It's actually so much easier than you think. But because of our schooling and indoctrination, we think that it takes a 9 to 5, 40 hours a week, just scrape by. That's why you're stuck there, because you haven't broken free of that programming. I was listening to something somewhere the other day, and this guy was flipping couches. He'd buy a couch for $200 and sell it for $400, and he was making $8,000 a month cash in hand by doing that. So he bought a truck and turned it into a business. Like, there are so many ways that you can bring in extra money. This business is a great way to do it, obviously. What would lighten the load? And are your actions aligned with your true desires? Your desires of more fun, more play, more abundance, more love. If you're waiting for something to happen outside of you in order for you to have more fun next year, in order for you to be able to play more, in order for you to have more abundance, in order for you to feel love, you're going to be very, very disappointed, and you're going to keep living out the same experience. It doesn't happen outside of you. It doesn't come from others. The way you find the right person is by becoming the right person. It's not things outside of you that are going to expand your happiness. It happens on the inside first. And personal power is choosing what you're going to entertain, what you're no longer available for, what you'll no longer tolerate, and what your standards are. And you will attract in the likeness. You tolerate low vibe, you tolerate drama, you entertain BS, you entertain you're the only one that can do it. That's what you're going to create for 2025. But if you elevate your standards of who you spend your time with, what you spend your time doing, what you'll entertain, the standards you hold for your family and your children, you will attract something different. This is the work of creating that seamless fabric. So get really, really clear of what you want more of in 2025, what you want less of, what is currently stopping you. And this is the PowerPoint. Every time you hit a wall in your belief system, drop into the heart and ask yourself, what is possible here? Well, I work too many hours. That's why my Juice Plus business isn't succeeding. What is possible here? Can you drop down one day, and now you've got that leverage to get some shit done in your business to make sure that you make up the income? Can you get some help around the house? Is there a new career opportunity that would fill you with a lot more joy and fulfillment and create space for your Juice Plus business in the transition? My husband, my kids, they're not supportive. I have to do it all. What is possible here? I don't believe I can do it. Drop into your heart. What is truly possible here? Let the head aligning with the heart and your higher self answer the question of what is possible. Your head will block the view, but your heart is limitless. It only knows love. Make room next year for your being, for following your joy, for creating what you do want, for really claiming the worthiness of your time and where you invest it. And if you don't choose to change what isn't working for you, you are choosing it. So we've got a few minutes left. I think I hit every point. Hopefully I did. But are there any questions? If you wanted to bring yourself off mute, or if I missed any questions, you can pop them in the chat. Or anyone want to share an awakening, an aha moment? Because I promise you, you won't be the only one that's feeling it. And you give other women permission by sharing it. No one can change it but me. I love that. Your head will block the view, but your heart only knows possibility. Anything is possible when you are living from the heart. You're limitless. I don't use my phone till after school drop off most mornings. Yeah, it's been a game changer for me, Celeste. That's something I had to get really honest with myself about. Oh, thanks, Jessie. Thanks, Susan. No questions, no shares? Let's have one courageous woman. Choose your courage today, right? This is your moment. Beautiful. Renee. Hi.
Thanks so much for today. It's just been, oh my God, so many incredible mic drop moments, I think, for me. One thing that really resonated with me was just eliminating all of the stress, and also just knowing when you need something, I think is something I've never done, is being able to ask or just recognize, why am I feeling stressed? Oh, that's just normal. I've got to deal with it, instead of saying, I think I just need half an hour, and then I'll come back. So yeah, just like, how do you bring that up with the people in your family, your partner, and like, without obviously triggering them as well, generally ask, look, I guess just some help around that would be
Beautiful question. And this is transformational, ladies, being able to ask for what you need, but giving yourself what you need. And so with the children, like, children are just so incredibly intelligent. Like, they're far more intuitive than we give them credit for. And so, you know, you're modeling it, and you're having that conversation of humility and compassion with them. And they love you. They want you to thrive. They want to see you happy. And so just speaking with them, mommy just needs to take some time to reset. And you're teaching them emotional regulation by modeling it, which is so important. So many kids these days have no capacity to regulate their own emotions. And that's pretty scary when you think about the adults they're going to become and the relationship challenges they're going to have, because they're going to expect their partners to regulate them, which is an impossible expectation. So you're modeling that, and don't underestimate their ability to understand when you communicate it in loving ways. And then when they have their emotional outbursts, you then communicate with them in the same way. What do you need? Do you need some time out? Do you need some cuddles? Do you need, give them options, right? And so it becomes the tone and the expectation in the home. It's just what you do. It's a value. When it comes to your partners, I believe in giving what we need. So the more we dig our heels in and go, well, he doesn't give me what I need, he doesn't support me, he doesn't help me around the house, and you're just in full-blown criticism, he's going to be defensive in return, right? So if you're respectful, when my partner comes home in the evening and he like drops down on the couch, he loves my presence, right? So it depends on your partner, but I will just stroke his body and like give him a massage, ask him how his day was. What do you need, baby? Can I get you a drink? Are you hungry? Do you need some time out? If he needs time out, he'll generally just go sit in the bathroom, as men do, right? But otherwise, he's generally happy to be like in our presence. He just doesn't want to have to do anything or be asked or like, verbally vomited on. He just needs to rest. So I'm just mindful of that, of it being a positive environment that he walks into. There's no demands. There's no, telling him where he went wrong in the day. It's just letting him be. And so he bounces back so receptive and so helpful in the evenings, because, you know, it's later in the evenings that I need that help and support because I'm getting tired. So I think if you give that, then he's going to naturally want to reciprocate without you really having to communicate too much. Like, men are like, they really do respond to our energy, our vibrancy, and our radiance and our happiness. Then in moments where you do feel like you're wobbling and everything's coming undone, you just say, look, I can just feel that I'm at breaking point right now. So would you mind if I take 15 to breathe? Or if I just head down to the beach and put my feet in the sand for half an hour, and I'm going to come back so much happier and calm and relaxed. And then, you know, and then we can do whatever it is, the win for him, right? So what's in it for him? He doesn't want you to be cranky and at capacity. He doesn't enjoy being around you. The kids don't enjoy being around you. So they love the playful. So what you want to do is come back in a better state to show them that it serves them to give you that time out. So, you know, if you're still critical and all of those things, and they'll just think, what's the point? You just made life harder for no reason, right? So always respond with your energy, be communicative, be giving, give the thing that you want in return. And yeah, I'm yet to meet, you know, good men do want the best for you. Yes, they are emotionally, you know, just so not in tune the way women are, because they're not wired to be. And that causes us to criticize them and think that they're wrong instead of appreciating their differences. So clear communication with men is really important. They cannot anticipate your needs in the same way that we expect them to.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Did I miss? Oh, hang on, I'm not. Actually, you know, that if we had, there's the heart coherent stuff, I'll bring it to the training later, but it's amazing. It sets the tone in your whole body. When you drop from this head into your heart, it's so simple. You can do it in minutes, but it actually changes the frequency in your entire body. And so that is not only felt by you, but it's felt by everyone in your environment as well. And it's just, I believe that's how we get to create harmony in our hormones and our environment. Now, one of the things actually just came to mind, and I might finish the call with this unless anyone else has any shares. Oh, now it's gone. It dropped in and now it's gone. Okay. So I understand that as women, and I remember feeling like this when all my kids were at home, we're doing all day long. It's legitimate. You're exhausted in the evening too, right? My message isn't, you know, we should just, you know, like pander to our husbands and do everything because they've been working all day. And like it is equality, right? We're all expending energy to the same degree. And when we can understand the hormones, we can work to harmonize each other. Now, one of the resentments women have is, yes, but I've been doing all day too. And so I'm just, how do I have that extra capacity to give him time out when I'm desperately needing that time out when he walks through the door as well, right? The way that you access it, for me, this is the way I access it, is through gratitude, right? So when I think about the work that my partner does and the responsibility that he holds on his shoulders with his business and the physical labor and the hours, the time he leaves, the time men can walk through the door, that is exponentially feels heavier to me as the feminine than what I have to do as the feminine, right? Now, it's not to say that I'm not at the same capacity level because I'm also doing all day. What I do all day would probably feel heavy to him. So it's understanding what feels heaviest to each other and alleviating, you know, what feels the easiest to each other, like working as a team, right? What feels easy to me is heavy to him. What is easy to him is heavy to me, general, because we are the polar feminine, masculine. We're a good example of that. But gratitude, like I'm glad I didn't have to go do all those things. And yes, I'm exhausted. And yes, I want time out. And yes, I can't be bothered cooking dinner, but also like, thank you. You're such an amazing provider. Thank you for what you do every day. And I'm just so grateful that you are our rock and, you know, that you're here doing that for us, or you're here playing a part of that team. You know, obviously I'm providing in my way as well. But starting with gratitude, he's going to love and appreciate you in return and see what you do as well. And that can give you that little bit of extra energy to just give him that half an hour. And then over time with reinforcement, he's going to bounce back. And when you start asking for clear support, little things that lighten your load, you're going to create a new energy and dynamic, right? Where you feel compelled to give him the half an hour because you know that you're going to get so much help on the other side. I do believe women are typically more emotionally intelligent. And so as much as it's exhausting and annoying and we feel resistance, generally we do need to go first. And we have so many more expectations than men. We have so much more complexity, so many more needs, and they just don't understand it. So we do need to lead them in a sense to how we feel supported, because it's not innate to them. And we need to stop making them wrong for that and appreciating what they do bring to the table. Oh, I love that, Leanne. It doesn't matter how long you've been in your partnership and how ingrained your patterns are. Transformation is so possible. And it's a lot more simple than what we think it needs to be. All right, ladies, thank you for sharing this space with me today. And I hope that you go away and genuinely just reflect on that homework. What do you want more of? What do you want less of? How are you going to lead yourself to clean up some leaks, to make room for more? Have an amazing week and a magic Christmas if I don't see you guys online before then. Thanks, everyone.